Hello and welcome to another AIC Productions video. Today I wanted to do a gaming on a budget video. So thanks to cryptocurrency and prices there, the cost of graphics cards has just skyrocketed, out of control. You can't find a 1050 hardly under $250. A 1060 will run you over $350. Those cards should be closer to like $125 and $200. In fact, for my 1060 6 gig, I paid $250-ish for that a few weeks ago. So I know they should be a lot cheaper, but they just aren't right now. And so I wanted to put together a gaming system with the new Ryzen APU. So I picked up a Ryzen 5 2400G, has the Radeon Vega graphics, and we're going to build a system with it. Now again, this is on a budget, so there's a few things that I definitely, I don't want to say cheaped out on, but that I cheaped out on. And hopefully we will still get what we want out of it, which is a reasonable gaming experience, a 1080 or a full HD gaming experience out of this system. So just going down my list. So here I have 4 gigs of Patriot Viper memory. It's about $50. I have a 240 gig SSD, about $64 for a good one of those. You don't have to spend a lot of money. I wouldn't go less than 240 gigs if you're going to install some games. They tend to take up room. On my main system, I only have 120 gig SSD, which you end up just over 100 gigs usable, and that's not quite enough. So definitely would recommend a 240 gig or larger. The CPU is $170. The motherboard, now I'll go over these components a little bit, but the motherboard was only $50. It was the cheapest motherboard available that supported, according to the manufacturer, out of the box, the new APUs. So we'll see if we run into any driver or firmware issues there. Haven't tried it yet, obviously, that everything is still in box. The power supply. Now I picked up this Raid Max. It was $50. I could have gone a little bit cheaper there, but I've had this exact model of Raid Max. In fact, it's the one that's in my wife's computer. We've had it for 5 years with 0 issues, so it's worth it to me to buy a power supply that I know is good quality and will last a long time without issues. And so it's probably a little overpowered with 530 watt there, so probably a bit much. But again, it's a quality brand with a quality power supply that I have experience with. The next thing, and the last item that is on the list, is this case. This is a Rosewill Line M case. In fact, if you recognize it at all, it's because it is exactly the same case that I used to build my wife's computer. I loved it. It's a great case. It's very compact. It fits large graphics cards with no issue. It fits all the components you would need in a modern system. It has great front I/O on there. And it's very inexpensive at just $40. Has a great intake fan and a great exhaust fan at 120 millimeters each. It has space for more fans. It's not as fancy as you get it if you spend a little bit more money. It's functional. Computers to me are functional. Nobody's going to look at this thing except for me. So let's go ahead. I'm going to switch over to a time lapse and let's get assembling this computer. Alright, there we have it. All put together, ready to be booted for the first time. Typically I like to build a system first before putting it into the case, but in this instance I didn't feel like that was necessary. It's a very basic, there's just not a lot of components to this. I already know that the memory, the SSD work, and I have no reason to suspect that the motherboard and CPU do not. So let's go ahead and get this plugged into a monitor, keyboard, and mouse. We'll get resituated and go from there. Alright, so we've hit the power button, powering on now. Now the first time I've powered these Ryzen processors on, they can take quite a while to actually boot. So if you get to this stage and nothing's happening, you want to just give it a minute, because it can take a bit before it boots for that first time, or even, like in this case, the second time. Oh, it's trying to boot. So let's go ahead and boot into the BIOS. I was hoping to just go into BIOS, but let's see here. Alright, so UEFI version A320M processor type, Ryzen 5 2400G with Radeon Vega graphics, perfect. Processor speed is 3600 megahertz. We have 4 gigs of memory, perfect. Let's see if there's a way to change any of the configuration, CPU configuration. Should always have virtualization enabled. Cool and quiet is enabled. North bridge. South bridge, storage, super IO config. Easy RAID installer, easy driver installer, internet flash. Oh, instant flash, not internet. There's internet flash. Internet flash downloads and updates the latest. So this is something that's cool within the last, I don't know, few generations of motherboards, is some of these actually come with the option to update your BIOS via the internet without actually having to load into an operating system. I don't have this plugged into the internet currently, so we'll worry about that another time. Don't need a password. Boot options. Alright. So I don't see anywhere to change the settings for the graphics card. So we'll load it up, install Windows 10, and see if there's anything in there that allows us to change how much memory or anything that has. So let's see here. Yeah, I just don't see any options at all. Now that may be a motherboard thing. This is a B320 instead of the B350, and the B320s do not have some of the overclocking options and some of the other things like that that you would have with the 350. Now my other system does have a 350, and you definitely get a lot more options. But again, this was a budget gaming system, and the motherboard does not affect that, I do not believe. As far as, I mean, if you're going to overclock these like that, yes, obviously it does, but I'm not much for overclocking. I've fried a chip or two in my time, and it isn't worth it to me. So let's go ahead and get an OS installed. So I will be right back with that installation going. Alright, so it is updating Windows. This always takes forever. So what we're going to do at this point is just download a few applications here. Make sure we have drivers and stuff installed that we need to. And go from there. A little customization. Alright, so this video is running a bit on the long side, so we're going to go ahead and finish it up with a performance test. We'll do a second video with the actual gaming. So this will be the build video, and the next video will be the actual performance test video. So, running an AMD Radeon Vega 11. It has 512 megabytes of memory. And let's go ahead and run the benchmark, and I will time lapse this just so that it'll go quick. So we have our results, and I'm quite impressed so far with just the synthetic benchmark. Obviously we're going to do a lot more testing. Like I said, this video is running kind of long, so we're going to go ahead and cut it short here, and we are going to put out another video with actual gaming benchmarks just to discuss some of these numbers. The 2D and 3D graphic marks, they're anywhere from 2.5 to 5 times higher than what I've seen on the laptops I typically review. But I'd like to do something. In the comment section down below, let me know what games you want me to test on this system. I will do my best to accommodate those. Second thing I want to do, I would like to see this video get, by the time I post the next part of this, 500 likes. If I get 500 likes, I want to do a giveaway. I'll give away one of these Rosewill Line M micro ATX cases to somebody. So if you want me to do this, 500 likes, we'll give it 2 weeks. 500 likes, and comment down below, and I will pick from random of the commenters down below. I'll probably write your names out, put them in a hat, draw from the hat, and one lucky winner, if we get the 500 likes in 2 weeks from the time this video posts, we will give away one of these cases. Let me know if you like that. Let me know if you want to see more of that in the future. Definitely something I want to do. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day, and definitely